this should be another really good game from Gaimin Gladiators.
Well, they definitely have been able to prove themselves in game number 1 with a very, very similar draft into the breach, playing some different stuff. Yeah, and I guess the other thing to me that just feels like it's going to be tough. So we were talking when the draft was going on. I personally always hate playing against Ember because I try and like X-boat him and I just die. But you're talking about just the power of this rum buff in this game and how strong it's going to be, you feel like.
Yeah, I also want to see if Quinn does the Nisha build, the Blade Mail that we've seen him do, I think, almost all of his Kunkka games in pubs. I think it looks amazing this game versus Ember, Sky, etc. You'll be able to reflect a lot of damage back. But yeah, I think it's for the lane, and then it also gives them extra catch versus Brood and great team fight. So yeah, it looked like a great last pick. I mean, Quinn kind of had pick of the litter because they showed the Ember, so then Into the Breach had to ban OD, they had to ban Huskar, so then Quinn gets kind of the choice there, whatever he wants to play.
Well, you can see those esportbet.io odds slightly more into the favor than last game. Maybe that's just the lack of Marcy effect or something, but regardless, that's one thing that we can give them. It's a Dawnbreaker this time, a little bit different.
Let's see how this top lane goes too. This looks tough for Dawn. I believe he's going to have the tree at his side, but bite, the hook. Jibe will catch it. Okay.
Yeah. So it does get that bounty rune still, and that's going to be 2 apiece as Draccio kind of getting bullied back a little bit here. The slow goes on to Celery. Kadaro chasing after him on the tree, the Leech Seed, and a couple punches on Celery's way to lane.
Okay. Yeah, let's see how these lanes end up breaking down, because it's going to be double melee up top. So Dawnbreaker plus Tree versus Rubik Furion. This does not look like an easy lane for the Dawnbreaker at all. So let's see what they're going to be able to do. They're going to have to play just for kills rather than playing for CS too much up here on the side of Into the Breach.
Yeah, have to make something happen against Tofu there. I guess that they could also go on to Ace probably too. And
they're done right away.
Starbreaker, not always what we see out of the Dawn there, but a nice little play gets a ton of damage onto Ace.
Yep. That's kind of, I mean, they're going to have to play to, like I was mentioning, play very aggressive because eventually you will just get out-harassed and out-CS'd in this lane that we've seen Gaimin Gladiators run so often. And looking at Quinn, as we said, pick of the litter, so he should have a very good matchup versus Supreme as that Ember.
I have heard people say a couple of times he doesn't love playing as Kunkka, but I mean, in a match like this, it's hard not to like it.
Yeah, definitely. At bottom.
Ooh, Immersion. Oh, Zibe there to play a little bit of interrupt, though. Okay. And Celery now going to root him.
But now Zibe.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Does he find a hook? He's got it up again in a couple seconds. Tries to run away. They've still got eyes on him. And, well, hook just barely off the mark there. Good sneak away. Okay. Spider.
They're still going for him, though.
I mean, they're chasing him around.
Lots of CS being missed.
Okay, space created.
Alrighty. Yeah, I'm not seeing the Skywrath, and I just think you actually feed stick in this lane. It's the problem with the hero. If you're not able to get really aggressive early on, you're just giving up constant stick charges to a lane like CM Pudge could be problematic. And yeah, mid, I think this is going to be really hard for Supreme.
God, he is really taking him to town. And
top.
Tofu lift back. Kadaro, Otaker try and make the move happen. And every single time this move doesn't work, you get planked on your way out. You're just getting punched. Oh, it feels bad.
Yeah, it definitely does. This is the way they kind of have to play the lane. You just have to go for these type of super aggressive plays on the side Into the Breach. Otherwise, yeah, as we mentioned before, CS will be troublesome as Otaker.
Can they get him?
He's got stick on Ace. He's fine.
Yeah, they can't do it. And now the TP back and then TP in. Oh, yeah. Oh, this trade is going to be rough, dude. Into the Breach are just getting walloped up here.
They're having to use all their regen already at this point.
Okay. So, I haven't seen something like this happen in a while, where a lane is just getting kind of bullied like this. 8-0 on the last hits versus the 10-3, and well, I'll see if Into Breach can do some fancy shenanigans with the lanes.
They got a good pull. Kidaro did get, I believe, like a half pull, so we'll be able to deny a couple waves here. Supreme.
You have been denied.
Get more damage, and takes one of those Tidebringers on his way back. You can see Zive down bottom, trying to make do with what he can do. Gets the pullback too towards his tower. So a little bit of a better time there. And if you look at it, Ember is not getting completely denied out in terms of last hits and all that.
Keeping him low though, Supreme has to get the next rune or he's gonna get pushed out of the lane. So let's see if we do see supports checking that 4-minute rune for him to help him out. Don't know if they can, though. I don't think they can actually leave their lane, so they're just... Because there's just kill combos on all the sides here for the side of Gaimin Gladiators. And bottom, Jibe.
Chased.
He'll be okay.
Yeah, it does look fine. But yeah, we're not seeing anybody make moves right now. And in fact, the Torrent,
oh,
the X...
and they're checking top rune.
Dude.
Oh, Supreme.
Oh, man.
Maybe he goes up and gets his bounty at least. Okay, so that'll be the case. As Immersion...
Down bottom. Drops. Will go down to Celery. As well as Duraccio. So the quick and easy bring down.
Oh, this game feels like it's going to be really rough. I don't want to be so negative, of course. Only 4 minutes in, but if you're Skyrath already struggling a bit to even put any pressure onto this Pudge lane, it's going to get worse and worse quickly. As Duraccio, he's almost got Vanguard finished already.
Right, and one of those moments, too, where you think about what this one means, it's potentially for relegation. There's going to need to be some type of crazy change-up that happens from Into the Breach, or at the very least, some of these lanes are going to need to start going a little bit better. Mid-game, maybe grouping together and trying to make plays. But whatever the case is, right now, Gaimin Gladiators is very happy with what's happening.
Definitely. Every lane doing excellent so far. Broodmother is unable to pressure whatsoever, and it's just constant battles down here between the two of them. As Duraccio, he's got Ring of Health, so he'll be able to heal back up quickly. Constantly getting fed tangos, too, from Celery.
Quinn holding that lane over on his cliff now. Feeling very happy about things, and you can see Kataro even just throwing out these leech seeds onto the tree to try and heal up his team a little bit more.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel great.
Nope. And Quinn, he's got the high five. He pushed the Ember out of lane, high-fiving his own tower in a second. So he's about to hit level 6. So let's see. I mean, Supreme coming back to lane is going to be really difficult now. One rotation and likely to just die.
High-fiving your tower. You're having a good time.
And here we go. Duraccio, Vanguard is done. Pretty much no way to pressure him now in this lane with a Skyrath plus Brood lane.
Yeah, all the top net worths inhabited by Gaimin Gladiators. This laning stage feels like everything's been perfect for him, and well, if you can get a couple Flesh Heap stacks, that would be even better. Immersion getting ran down, but they won't quite get him. Instead, Zibe that takes down Celery. Now, I don't know what you're going to do against this Pudge with the Vanguard, but maybe the magic damage is going to be enough eventually to force him back. And in fact, the timing when the Vanguard comes out is when they put the most pressure on Gaimin Gladiators. I don't know how, but it happened.
Yeah, I think Duraccio actually turned Rod off when he was running down the Sky. Ooh, didn't quite connect the hook, but yeah, Sky's able to slowly walk away somehow after getting hooked under tower. That was interesting.
Well, a very big play, and now Celery making the move back in can force back the Spider a little bit. So deal with some of that pressure that was coming their direction.
Duraccio level 5, Celery level 4. We saw the mid-rotation. Tofu went to help out Quinn to try to kill Supreme. Supreme did get some luck. We'll get a DD rune. Maybe this will allow him to make some rotations to fix these side lanes.
Well, again, all the heroes doing kind of what they need to at this point as Ace will back away from that mini initiation coming out their direction. And Quinn and Supreme, like you said, both level 6, getting that DD.
And they're even stacking. So Tofu, after he makes the rotation mid, stacks Hard Camp, stacks Ancients, and another hook.
Ooh.
This time Immersion looks to be in trouble. Or maybe
The slow
Duraccio.
down, Duraccio. I mean, there's just no turn unless you have that damage from Sky, and Sky just dies.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard to push and pressure that Pudge. As Quinn gets some damage now onto Supreme. That's the slight use. Does have the Remnant to dodge it. Still good damage. Tofu moving in. They have the boat to land, and they get the kill. Tofu coming in at the perfect time.
He was going to slight dodge the boat, but yeah, gets lifted just slightly out of vision there. Perfect rotation from Tofu. Hook.
Finds
Another
him again.
one. But the Donald's online.
The turn, this is big for him. Finds him right away. Duraccio goes down. Now Celery also in some trouble as they have the hammer landing. They take down Immersion, but Gaimin Gladiators dropping a couple of heroes. This Dawnbreaker, that move was what they needed.
Nicely done. But where's Otaker going to go? All right, TP back top. Looks like he is very low mana, but still wants to try to continue laning. But completely
And you really do need that mana on Dawnbreaker to try and sort of stay survivable in this lane against the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, and you want to always just be able to throw your hammer out so you can slow down the push that's going to come from Ace. Wrath of Nature is online.
Oh, Supreme slight dodges, but Celery moves in. The pullback. Supreme has to Remnant to get away. Some of that tree armor online too as Duraccio.
They're trying for him.
turn onto him. Don't have level 6 yet on Zibe, so they won't be able to do much besides just keep Dyrachyo sort of uncomfortable.
Immersion has to be careful how far he steps up.
Okay. They just walked into him. That
Right.
happens.
Whoopsie. It's a free one there for Dyrachyo. We even saw Ace was faking the TP down there, knowing that the Skywrath was very vulnerable. And Dyrachyo's even going to get a pull onto the hard camp. So, stacked pull. So, Jibe going to lose a wave here.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Hard to come on over and contest that one with the Pudge right nearby.
All 3 lanes looking really good for Gaimin Gladiators. Quinn backs up, starts to take Ancients. We see Jibe bottom.
Find him again. The root's there. The Dismember. Do they have the damage to bring him down, though? Trying to run away, gets the distance. And
Here comes
Zibe.
Supreme.
Okay, making some moves. As the Remnant chase right on top. Dismember's already been used. Hook is back online. And they don't decide to dive. Okay.
Too scared of the follow-up rotations. They don't know where Kunkka is. They
Yeah.
haven't seen Quinn. He's been farming. He's low HP, but they don't know that he's that low that he won't be able to show up. On Quinn? Okay, he's going to go for his own build. So we used to see this build versus Embers and Pucks sometimes from Kunkka's. It's going to be the Orchid. So finding an extra answer for this Ember Spirit.
And the Rune will spawn bottom.
Oh my.
Where it's
That
a
was
haste.
that was a solo kill.
Yeah, he just took him down. And now Quinn throws out that boat. The connection stolen.
stolen.
Dawn ulti. That is a big one.
Yeah, that's huge. They might be able to look to make a move off of that. But yeah, Jibe, I did not expect him to get a solo kill on the Pudge. I guess Dyrachyo just, walked in way too low versus all the spiders. Gets caught. All right, not bad. Still a 3K lead, though, for Gaimin Gladiators. They're probably very comfortable with their positioning, with the way that everything's been going in lanes, even if Dyrachyo died.
And having that, like, stolen Dawn ulti, too, right? I mean, Solar Guardian is just so good for turning around a couple of these fights, particularly the kill onto Dyrachyo. I can't imagine that they bring him down again with that ulti online.
Yeah, and they have just it's so much more damage, because you jump in, you also have lift, plus nuke, plus whatever spell you steal from when you come into the fight with Solar Guardian, too.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely a scary moment here for Into the Breach. If they try to get aggressive, they're probably just going to get turned on.
And Gaimin Gladiators, meanwhile, 3K gold lead. This is kind of what, you know, the laning stage looked like might happen. Level 10 now on Quinn, and going to start making that smoke rotation up towards the top side of the map.
Trying to bring the action to the Dawnbreaker so they don't have that Dawn ult come to them. But it's still cooldown 40 seconds, either way. Trying to get this tower, trying to open up map more.
Boat back off cooldown right now. Kadaro, Torrent, and I don't even think that they're going to need the boat for this one, as one last hit, the pull back in, Tofu there. He's pretty tanky on this tree, but Kadaro does eventually go down.
Now it should open up the tower, so Ace will be able to get some damage here. Tree being dead can't heal it. Is there any way that Into the Breach can look to mirror this movement? Perhaps with Jibe pressuring bottom. I don't think they want to try to defend yet.
Yeah, it's pretty scary to kind of put any counterplay on, but Solar Guardian down bottom, Tofu with the turn. Okay,
Now he's got webs.
Stolen webs, oh no.
Would have been nicer if he gets, of course, the spawn spiders, but either way, this is always a pretty nice one for the Rubik just to move around.
I mean, I felt like before when we saw this, it was the most broken thing ever late game, but I think that the Rubik had Ags that game or something too. But even still, like, look at what Tofu's doing.
He can be really obnoxious. Walk up, put some webs down, they'll disappear immediately since he steals a new spell.
Yeah.
Steals a Slight. Not the best spell, but still, the 2 supports even bringing the action to Supreme.
Dude.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
I mean, Quinn's about to have Orchid, so next situation with Quinn walking up, he'll get that Orchid follow-up, and yeah, Supreme would likely die. I think they have to start pairing now. Okay, so Supreme and Immersion, I think if they don't start getting some big kills with these two, game is going to just, pretty much look impossible for them. Because Skywrath, this hero needs to get some kills early game, or it just falls off super hard.
Can they do it? Dyrachyo, he's already popped it. There's the Dawnbreaker ulti. They're bringing everybody. As you said, almost no damage from Immersion, but everybody else comes in for it.
And now here comes the rest of Gaimin Gladiators. They want to stop the push.
Who can they find? They don't look like they're going to be able to get Supreme, who ran back mid, but Immersion, the one that's likely going to fall. They want the bigger kill, and in fact, the silence keeps a little bit of distance away. The root's there, and Zibe sticking around a bit too long. Torrent comes out with the boat. The bring down of the spider. Celery, the one that actually gets the last touch on it.
I like that. Just commit both ults. Want to hang on to your tower, so They wanted the big target too. They literally just walk right past the Skywrath. They knew who they wanted. So 5K lead. Gaimin Gladiators still looking super comfortable in this game. And Aghanims is about to be finished for Ace. So as we've said before, and many times since we've seen this Nature's Prophet build, the frequency of these moves are just going to happen faster and faster. 60-second cooldown, the root, and now Quinn with an Orchid. So game for Supreme looks super difficult now. There's so many different forms of disable for him.
Oh, he gets it though. So Orchid won't work against the Illusion rune.
Okay, nice.
That is like the best rune for Supreme to have in his bottle right now.
There is a lot of control though. There still is. There's the root, the silence. There's the root, of course, from the Wrath of Nature that's coming out in a second. So has to kind of use the illusion perfectly.
Well, and you can see why he's going for that first item BKB too. Like he sort of has to get into this. But likewise, anything that can kind of keep him alive a little bit during this period is going to be super important because holy moly, do Gaimin Gladiators hit hard right now. Level 10, 12, good. And my mouth just fell apart at how huge he is. Unbelievable.
They set him up for success, right? Tofu stacking, making moves around 2. Yeah, there's a huge Kunkka. Oh, out of the chorus, looking kind of ideal timing for the side of Gaimin Gladiators. And into the breach. I think, it's going to get harder and harder as these moments go by now. Quinn?
Or they bring everybody and they fight him. The jump onto Quinn, but the torrent, it lands after.
Stolen
Still
again.
The chase down and the heal trying to keep alive their carry out of that mid lane. And Overgrowth comes out, Immersion dropping lower, but the regen, the heal, it's all there. The turn, do they have enough? Duraccio, he's still huge on this Pudge with 2 already dead. Quinn has also fallen. Supreme gets the Remnant through to get away. Tofu steals Remnant. Now the chase down, trying to survive, but it won't be enough. Kadaro is going to fall to Ace. Just mayhem unfolding as 3 die from both sides. 2 heroes left alive, and they'll both, it looks like, get out of there.
Pretty good fight, to be honest. When you're at this disadvantage on the side of Into the Breach, caused a lot of chaos, got some big kills, and Supreme is the one who survives through the end of it. So maybe his BKB could be that saving grace for them in these next couple team fights, because he's going to have it pretty soon.
Man, and I'm going to try this one more time. Level 12 on Quinn, really strong. But that steal there at the end also doing so much to turn this around.
Honestly, it's so fortunate for them that they get Kadaro in for this route as well. I think Celery's ult would have perhaps just started cleaning up almost everybody too. So pretty fortunate for Into the Breach there, but at the same time too, I don't think Gaimin Gladiators is too fussed with that type of fight.
Yeah, I guess that's the big thing too, is like there's still now 6K gold ahead. Their positioning and movement around this freaking map is so solid.
And that's Tree ult, that's Dawn ult, which are the big tools to fight. Well, for Gaimin Gladiators, feels like they don't really need too many of those, as we see the Skywrath ult do 0 damage.
We don't quite see it, but yeah, it's
Nice block.
Get the hook there on the spider interrupt. Nicely played.
Supreme.
Ace is just going to TP out. Supreme, though, can he find anybody?
He's looking for Duraccio. Might be able to actually catch him if Duraccio's greedy.
Well, he sees him now on that ward, so Duraccio realizing the danger coming his way. Oh my god, is he going for a hook?
For it? I think he is. Immersion. Uh-oh.
Wait, mid lane too. Going for the tower. Yeah, and Duraccio doesn't quite connect onto that hook. Quinn, trying to make use of this Orchid. Haven't been able to see it connect yet for a big play there after he just got dropped in the beginning of the fight last time.
Yeah. So Supreme, it looks like his BKB is going to come out at a pretty perfect time for at least to counteract that Orchid, of course. But we do see, the top 3 cores still on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Still looking in a very comfortable spot as Duraccio. Duraccio's about to be online. He's about to have Ags done, so it's going to be that much stronger in the next few moments.
And they kill him before he gets it.
Maybe
moving
they can.
in with numbers. They have the silence. They have the Dawn ult. They're trying to kill him off, and they will bring him down. So
nicely done.
Really well played by Into the Breach, prioritizing those heroes, but this is what we were thinking might happen. The Orchid comes out. The Torrent connects. Do they have enough damage? Supreme gets a little bit of distance.
He's okay.
And will survive.
Okay. Nice move. Again, requires the Solar Guardian to be taking out the Pudge, so for Gaimin Gladiators, they respawn and they're probably going to look to fight again with that being on cooldown. Oh, it's stolen.
How do you like it?
Okay, that one does damage.
Yeah, it does a whole heck of a lot of it. Silence onto Celery, won't turn into anything. Ace now jumped upon. Otaker right on top of him with the root and the CM ulti from up on high. Zibe finds him, the Remnant chase down, and the kill is there. Kadaro gets the overgrowth, so Ace still stuck in the area. Stolen Leech Seed. Not sure if that's going to do enough, but Ace, he's just going to TP out the Remnant for it. The root, they get him! Supreme finds it!
Nicely done.
That is exactly what they needed, and what a BKB reveal for Supreme.
Super persistent with the way that they go for the fight, even without the Dawn ult. A little bit of a misconnection there from Quinn, doesn't get the Torrent onto the tree. And yeah, good fights him into the breach. Still bringing the action versus Gaimin Gladiators.
You know, this is the thing that's been so, like, back and forth about this Into the Breach lineup, is that you look at several moments from, like, last game and from this game too, where things are looking good. You can see the promise of the team, and then, you know, it doesn't all work together. They end up, you know, maybe dropping a game here or there. They're on the verge of elimination, but they're still making these plays.
Yep.
We'll see if they can pull it together enough to keep their chances alive here.
I like how they're just being very persistent about how they put on their aggression. I think they know there's going to be a big timing soon for Gaimin Gladiators. We're seeing these BKBs. We saw just like last game, the 3 BKBs once they got picked up. That's where you felt like Into the Breach could do pretty much nothing. So I want to see them keep playing fast every time they have Solar Guardian up, every time they have Tree ult. Look for aggressive plays. Supreme, BKB's on cooldown though.
Let's be careful to get out of here. And the save coming in, though.
Again.
The Dawnbreaker there to keep him alive. The turn now onto Quinn, killing off that Kunkka.
Nicely done.
Into the breach. Making the moves to cover each other. Celery just going to TP out here.
Great place. Yeah, Supreme tanky enough. And they're underestimating the power of the Solar Guardian, it feels like, on the side of Gaimin Gladiators. It's connecting perfectly from Otaker every single one of these fights.
Yeah, level 2 on that one at level 13. Dawnbreaker almost done with the Deso now, so they're going to have some pretty serious damage there. And you can see Ace queuing up and trying to finish off that BKB. Still a little ways away from it. We'll see what Into the Breach can do as they're trying to set up to pressure this mid-tier 1 tower.
Supreme with BKB can play pretty confident here to kind of poke it. But it is getting pushed away. Ace has showed up also to stop the push.
Zibe is still nearby on the Spider with Mech.
Okay.
The lift from long range, a little bit of a miscommunication there.
It's close. I love when I see these slight plays, slight lift from the Rubiks.
Yeah.
Something just very unexpected for most people as Duratio blink. So, okay. Went for an initiation tool rather than going for his BKB. But he's going to have BKB on his 2 other cores, so. So far, though, pretty good. Lead has dropped from 6K to 2K. They're constantly fighting when Solar Guardian's up. 20 seconds. It's on cooldown. Gaimin Gladiators trying to take advantage of it.
And they're moving into the direction where Otaker is going to be. Duratio seeing him now as he backs away underneath that tier 2 tower, and more difficult to connect in for a kill. Almost done with that Deso too.
Yeah.
Only about 50 gold away or so for Otaker, but he's on a ward.
He stepped
and
in.
Duratio finds him. And no save is coming his direction. Does turn with that shard. The hammer trying to run away, but Celery drops the ulti, secures the kill, and that one hurts.
He wanted the Deso. He needed 1 creep for it. He was playing so patient for Solar Guardian, but then steps up just a bit too far and gets punished. Now 35 seconds, where Gaimin Gladiators can take over a bit more of that map, not having to worry about Solar. And yeah, BKB done for Furion, BKB done for Quinn. And he finds himself a DD rune. How lucky. Or does he? Oh!
Rooted. Silence. Turn.
It's a big one.
Oh my god. Dude, it's right before his BKB gets there. It's coming out on the courier. Quinn, he wants his BKB so badly. Keep me alive. But the root and the turn. Supreme, he pops his BKB. Now Quinn can go back in if they want the control there, but pulling him away. Duratio went on to Kadaro. And now the root, the catch onto Supreme. Oh, it was beautifully played by Gaimin Gladiators. And Quinn even gonna tip Supreme. How dare you take my DD?
The boat, that rum buff, everything there for Quinn. His team comes in backup, and oh, that was such a big moment for them if they're able to bring down Quinn and get out. But yeah, now get quickly turned on.
2 moments back to back, right? Like, it was both that kill on the Dawnbreaker and then also the other 2 going down. And now you've like hit these timings, but everybody from Gaimin Gladiators has their items to fight.
He's so farmed. This Dawn ult, though.
Maybe a chance for a turn. They need this one so badly. Ace also getting hit a couple of times. Immersion gets away from Ace. Otaker tries to beat him down, and Duratio getting some separation. Might be able to escape from this one. 50 HP, and that Pudge walks away.
Damn, looked close again. Solar Guardian coming in over and over again, almost getting the cleanup kills, but yeah, Gaimin Gladiators scurries away.
And another long timing now, long ulti used with nothing gained.
For the side of Gaimin Gladiators, they don't have to wait on these ults. We said, 60 seconds is kind of the long cooldown that they have to wait for. The boat plus that Nature's Prophet ulti. Let's see what they look to do now. With their BKBs, Quinn feels pretty unkillable.
Well, into the breach. Backs up against the wall here, and Roche is looking like the place where these fights might take place next. Celery drops a ward right after Tree does. Kadaro in a little bit of trouble now as he's caught by the X-Torrent boat combination. Orchid comes out, Ace right on top of him, and can they save their buddies? Can they keep them alive? Doesn't look like it. Hook not going to connect, but Tofu finds the lift. The BKB comes out, the silence immediately onto Duraccio. He gets forced staff to get away from Supreme. Ooh. But again, these pokes and prods, it's just so hard to play against.
And their BK, like the forcing of the BKBs, now they can just walk into Rush. Supreme can't come near the fight.
Duraccio, the trees and Ace all punching away at it.
Gladiators playing around the Solar Guardian a little bit better this time around. They got caught, I think, a bit off guard a few of the earlier fights, but now you're starting to feel, their whole lineup is starting to fully mesh together, these BKBs and everything.
Well, into the breach. Even if they did want to come and contest this with the Dawnbreaker ulti, it's too hard to get in time, and Gaimin Gladiators will claim that Aegis for Duraccio. Gonna need to see what the next couple of minutes look like. Now, Ace did TP down here. There's a lot of heroes from Into the Breach over in this area.
He's got BKB, though. There's like no way they actually kill him. He'll just pop BKB and be able to waltz away. And Supreme, without BKB, is very vulnerable.
They want to do something here. I mean, I guess that they're just dodging away from the side of Gaimin Gladiators at this point.
Yeah, it feels like it.
You can see 70% win probability at this point. Not as much as, you could see, but I guess it's only that 5K difference between the two teams.
Still feels very hard for Into the Breach to take any full-out fight right now. Without BKB on Otaker, it feels like even if he Solar Guardians in, he might just die immediately after. Duraccio, he's about to have BKBs too, so the 3 cores on Gaimin Gladiators feel like they're going to be pretty invulnerable to the side of Into the Breach because they just don't have chain stuns.
Right.
They can't actually combo somebody down before a BKB is going to come out, and then the Rum comes in and the Root and everything. So
they're
it's not
following
easy.
This courier. They're literally just following the courier.
Hello.
Take me to your friend. And Kadaro, oh, you've been betrayed. The courier takes you down.
It's full split up for Into the Breach. They need to have Otaker's BKB before they look to take another fight.
No. A really tough one. And again, for Gaimin Gladiators, you think about the larger context of the DPC and what this means for them. With OG losing earlier today, they're now in a much better position to try and secure their spot, making it to the major. Winning here would definitely put them in a great position for that.
Yeah.
And Otaker, you can see, trying to buy time and push out these lanes, but Ace is always to the side, sending in those treants, taking another tier 1 tower down.
Quinn, he's got BKB ready.
They're going on him mid a little bit.
Yeah, they can't control him at all. They have to wait for BKB to use tree ult, but then they could get just further turned on. These Gaimin Gladiators, they're just scaling way harder now at this point. Duraccio's just in.
Oh my god. Just runs at him. Hook, not going to connect. It feels like, in a way, they almost want to try and bait out those BKBs, but it's so hard to get away once you're in on this team.
They know how strong they are now with the triple BKBs on their cores. See how hard they're pushing forward as another tower gets taken out onto the net. 3 towers going to be dropping in the last, minute and a half or so. Bottom tower, mid tower, and now this secondary bottom tower. Gaimin Gladiators have hit a explosive timing here.
So freaking strong.
And scaling further. They're scaling way more with their heroes versus an Ember and a Dawnbreaker core with the Brood.
Are they going to keep going for more? At least maybe force people back? We'll see. Torn is out, the X, and Duraccio. Whoop. Oh, not going to quite get him there.
Starting to poke tower. Force an armor. And look to keep controlling the map.
I mean, I guess that is one thing that they've got on their side for Into the Breach is the living armor. So these poke is going to be not as annoying as it might otherwise be.
But when are they going to be able to fight? There's still going to be 90 seconds for Aegis, and these triple BKBs are causing them huge issues. And just, look at the levels. We've talked about the way Duraccio is able to farm on his Pudge a lot. His top net worth, level 18, so, they're scaling super hard.
And the point that Fear was talking about on the panel too, this level 20 coming out from NP, when he get the Sprout leashes, Ember just can't do anything. If he gets caught, the BKB not going to be able to save you there. But regardless, 7K gold lead now. And they're keeping it somewhat even because of Into the Breach's ability to farm around the map somewhat safely. A lot of very highly mobile heroes. But it's not feeling like it's that change-up that allows them to fight after.
No, it's feeling very reminiscent of how that last game happened, right? They fought pretty well through the 8 to 20-something, like 22-minute mark, but then, yeah, those BKBs are online, and Gaimin Gladiators are just kind of walking wherever they want to, and the End of the Breach has to full out just avoid.
Right. Otaker does have the Mage Slayer almost completed.
Okay.
And that's going to at least do something against the Pudge. Like, that was obviously one of the big answers that people had at various times for him. So, cutting down some of that damage, maybe.
Maybe. Hopeful.
I'm a hopeful guy, okay?
Yeah.
Very optimistic.
Yeah, just tough for them to get out. Look, even Jibe, this is like never the position. Like when you're like, this is a Brood, it feels pretty sad. You're like, I have to play as like a Brood that's defending towers rather than taking over bottom side of the map. They're just fully on defensive stance. As Gaimin Gladiators, you say, 4 towers now, I believe, taken in the last like 4 minutes or so.
Pretty good Aegis.
Pretty good Aegis.
Good. And Dyrachyo queuing up that Shiva's Guard next is all alone up top here. There's Celery nearby. Do they want to try and do something on Dyrachyo? No, just going to pull the creep wave past.
Yeah, he's got BKB. He's got Celery behind too. His 4-stat plus Glimmer.
Whoa.
Dyrachyo.
Okay, pops the BKB.
Okay.
Able to bait something out there on Supreme and didn't have to use a BKB. Oh no. But the
Dyrachyo.
turn, maybe a chance. A good amount of stun. The damage is out there, but the run buff, it's going to be so hard to deal with. Can they kill him off in time? Celery just getting a full ulti off, but the overgrowth does eventually come out. Otaker still chasing, but Dyrachyo got the blink away. The lift now. Otaker can't stay on a target, and Immersion is getting pulled apart. Ace now turned upon. Do they have the damage for him? I don't think so. They need to wait for that BKB to wear off.
Otaker's getting isolated perhaps too on the left.
Has to be careful with this one. The silence is out. Quinn trying to get away. A lot of time taken and only one hero dying in all of this fight.
Dyrachyo waiting for a blink.
And he's on top of all of them. But do they have the damage to bring him down? It looks like
He's
they
done.
do. Into the breach. Have they survived long enough to make it work? The run buff is worn off.
Oh my God.
Quinn goes down and they take down 3.
Wow. What a way they spaced the fight. Dyrachyo playing way too aggressive with his BKB and into the breach. Somehow take a fight afterwards. The RUM wears off, BKB wears off on everybody. Wow, really nicely done from them.
I mean, Supreme able to, whether we call that baited out or Dyrachyo just like losing his mind for a moment and just running at him.
Yeah.
Whatever the case was, very well played by Supreme to make that happen and set it all up.
A very impressive fight. I think that Gaimin Gladiators is probably very confused to what just happened there. But yeah, Dyrachyo a little too overzealous again. Saw it a couple times in the last game. Finding themselves a way back into this game, perhaps.
Well, can they replicate that again is going to be the question. Again, down to 4K gold lead. It's looking slightly better for them, and you also have now no longer stuck in their base. Look at these spiders spread out.
Yeah, able to get some farm, maybe get toward that next item. Otaker, he's almost got Basher finished, and he's found a Paladin Sword. Really good pickup for a Dawnbreaker.
That's huge.
So in these longer duration team fights, if Into the Breach can somehow survive through the BKBs, perhaps they actually do still have a fighting chance here.
I mean, you know, they're not going to be GGing out early on this one. This is for relegation. If they lose this game, they are out into Div 2 next season. Trying to keep their hopes alive against Gaimin Gladiators here. Tofu, he's getting into that shard next. Was able to see the steal of the Fire Remnant, so can play a little bit more, you know, aggressive with this Rubik.
Or more defensive, too.
Yeah.
Then he can be like, hey, Dyrachyo, what are you doing? Grab him and throw him out with the telekinesis, of course. Because, yeah, Dyrachyo, you said, a little bit too over-aggressive. They get punished for it. Still in a pretty prime and comfortable position, I would say, for Gaimin Gladiators to now get aggressive again. But definitely have to watch how they, you know, overextend with a... That's the 9-second BKB that was used earlier, too. So, yeah, just, Dyrachyo has to be a little bit, you know, a little bit more off the, you know, foot off the... pedal off the metal a little bit.
Well, like you mentioned, Basher done on Dawnbreaker. The levels.
Whoa.
Yeah, he made the switch up.
Well, not even just that. Nature's Prophet took the mischance Sprout instead of
What?
Sprout Leash versus Ember.
Okay.
That's a bit of an interesting. Hey, I saw him take it last game also, but last game it made more sense. This time, I mean, that's definitely interesting to see that he didn't take Sprout Leash versus Ember. Okay.
I guess, would you miss on your Dawnbreaker Qs? I'm not sure, but an interesting choice there. Dawnbreaker also has almost got level 20 now, so the Luminosity attacks required is going to be one of those other super interesting ones to watch. If he can get a couple more of these crits at key times.
Yeah.
Also hasn't decided to take the Paladin Sword yet. It's just keeping the Titan Sliver to try and survive.
If they can keep these long, long fights, force Rum, force BKBs, perhaps, yeah, they do maybe still have a chance here as an Arcane Rune is found to Supreme. Probably the best rune he could find here with a freshly picked up Ags.
And this would be big too. Catching people off guard. They find him, Quinn, right at the start. They want to bait out that BKB. They get the slowdown now from that concussive shot. Hook off the mark. Root is there. Duracio's still nearby, going to throw out the tidal wave. Quinn down to half HP before the fight even really pops off.
That was the Arcane Rune used, though. He wasn't able to force the BKB. Still could perhaps look for another fight here. I think this Arcane Rune still could be utilized, perhaps. They do see a split pushing down bottom, but yeah, they're hesitant.
And it was a quick Roche respawn. So back up again, ready for this. Jumps in, finds Quinn again. The silence is there.
He said, come on, pop BKB.
Yeah, he's waiting. The hook needs to remnant away. The Lotus keeps him alive for the moment. Pops BKB, turns to fight. That's already so much damage. And the Dawnbreaker ulti coming in. Do they have enough? Quinn down low, almost dead. Remnant through, gets away. He's on top of Kadaro. Can they kill him off? Otaker chases down and finds the finish on that Kunkka. They've already bought back now on Celery. Wants to get into this and help the rest of his team. That Lotus from Zibe helped so much to keep Supreme alive. And now Ace, he's completely isolated. But the root is there onto Dawnbreaker. Otaker tries to back away. Supreme runs in for another salvo. Celery, if he goes down, this is going to be a dieback. They can't chase anymore, but a huge win again for Into the Breach.
Supreme is just playing like a total boss. His Ember, T was saying it on the panel, he's had a spectacular performance on this the last 5 months. Look at his damage. He did 8,000 damage in that fight, forced Quinn on a full defensive. This is super impressive, the way that Into the Breach is just keeping this game super close here. I really thought they wouldn't be able to battle back versus this, but they've been doing an excellent job of just bringing the action to Gaimin Gladiators. And now another rune, another power rune for Supreme.
Takes that one. Ready to go for it. I mean, again,
now he has Shard too.
We've seen so many times this lineup play weird things. You think about like the Lycan for Otaker, obviously Marcy last game in the late style, and Supreme, making these heroes work.
Duracio, he's up far.
Does he have a way to get out of here? Kadaro moving in. They have a couple slows, but he gets the blink out, and Torrent now going to connect, but they keep a little bit of separation there.
They're forcing so much action onto the side of Gaimin Gladiators, though. They're forcing them on defensive completely. Every single one of these fights so far, in the last, 5 minutes or so, they get Quinn to just pop BKB and just have to run, and then they still run him down anyway. Very impressive Into the Breach. And good itemization. You pointed out earlier, Jibe, the Greaves Pipe, but then that Lotus. It's really doing quite some damage versus Duracio.
Hoping to bait out this BKB from Ace. And finishing off the Blink Dagger on the Dawnbreaker.
He's scary. Immense amount of farm on Otaker so far. He's able to just fight back versus this boat, versus these BKBs.
It's starting to run out of slots a little bit, which is slightly scary, but drops his Soul Ring and decides to just go with it. So gonna have to be careful about mana management, but should be fine.
Yeah, really impressed with the way they're bringing the fights to Gaimin Gladiators. Though Gaimin Gladiators felt like they had this pretty commanding lead, now it feels almost completely even.
And oftentimes these moments come down to who has that better vision. You have two different heroes that are giving it to you in this game. You've got the Spiders, you've got the Trance.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, tons of scouting coming out. Any big neutral items?
Not seeing much yet. Otaker on the other side of the map too, farming up.
Okay, Gaimin Gladiators totally on the defensive, though. Waiting for Courier to respawn, I believe. I think Duracio, he lost his Shivas in the midst of the fight before. So perhaps waiting for that timing, but Into the Breach is opening up the map and keeping themselves super... I mean, Otaker, he's about to O-Taker's about to overtake Nature's Prophet on the #1 net worth very soon.
They find one. Supreme throws back another little couple spells there at him, but Quinn won't be able to do anything after. But this is the big smoke. Gaimin Gladiators, if they can win this fight, turn it into potentially another objective. They spot Immersion, gonna dodge the hook. The pullback, though, Tofu has him right where he wants him.
Ace is here too. Sprout, but he, as we said, doesn't have the leash. Also doesn't end up connecting onto Supreme.
Duracio's at about half HP. Gonna pop Dismember now to try and make this reset go, but they're right on top of all of them. O-Taker, Duracio turned upon, finds Kadaro. The big ulti coming from Celery, Zibe in no man's land, but they are now all on top of Ace. Quinn there trying to beat down O-Taker. He is dropping, gets the complete teardown. Now a couple of buybacks, several of them used. Ace, he's already used his BKB. Immersion being controlled by Duracio. Force step to the low ground, will get brought down. Root onto Duracio, and Supreme maybe wants to go in for another round. The Root's there. O-Taker there. Zibe has to get out of here. Gets pulled back in. Duracio's doing so much in this fight. Look at the blink in. He finds him again. Kadaro dies. And the big jump, but Ace,
Satanic.
He turns. Look at it with the BKB. Oh, Ace starting to beat him down. Supreme, he has to Remnant to get out of here. Way too much turnaround with that Satanic.
O-Taker, this is his dieback perhaps.
Oh, if he goes down here, it's the big stun onto Quinn, but Duracio right on top of him again. Ace and Duracio in that fight were immaculate.
Ace was a boss. I mean, he just stood in the middle of everybody. Look at the damage on the fight recap from these two. About 10,000 from the Nature's Prophet. He literally just stood there and man fought the Dawnbreaker with all these items. And now they get the Roche opened up. The game has completely flipped over. After such a good mid game from Into the Breach, all it takes is one fight from Ace and Duracio.
Hit their timings, got their items, just exactly what they needed to do.
And it's a painful hit, right? They lose so much. How many buybacks was that from the side of Into the Breach, too?
4. And they couldn't kill anybody of note. It was pretty freaking rough there.
Ace just, yeah, so impressive. Just standing his ground, knowing that he can just fight through that Dawn.
And again, it gets back to the point that the panel was kind of talking about, right? That at the end of the day, you know, these are comfort heroes on Into the Breach. You've got this Ember that's absolutely owning, but they don't really have any stuns. They don't have the control. And so if you're free to just punch on this Nature's Prophet, he's going to become a monster in the late game.
Plus the Rum and everything too. So we have like the Dawn that's healing everybody, but it's versus an Ag's Pudge with Shivas, so it actually gets counteracted with quite a lot of that healing.
Look at that damage from Ace. Yeah, the Dawn heal, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yep. And Duracio, now he's got his full itemization. They've hit 25. So those BKBs going to be way weaker now for the versus the side of Gaimin Gladiators. Game has, completely blown open now, it feels. I thought this was going to happen earlier, to be totally honest with you, but Into the Breach has done it. They've done an incredibly impressive job through mid-game, but now the big battle's going to come to them.
And Tier 3 tower starting to fall as Duracio brazenly jumps up to high ground with his level 25. Still has Aegis, 3.5 minutes. Refresher done. Whenever they want to jump in at this, they can. And for the moment, at least, it feels like they're just going to start taking down this tower. Duracio getting whittled down a little bit. Supreme wants to hunt when they can, but eats up and gets out.
Fights feel... One more fight feels like it could just be the end there for Into the Breach because of all those buybacks having to be used. And now map gonna perhaps close for them. Still super impressed with the way they've been able to play, but yeah, after that hit, where do you go from here?
Right. Well, Supreme picking up the Shibas is kind of nice to shut down some of that healing that we did see before.
But do they have the damage now at this point?
Right.
Is the question, to be able to bring down this Pudge, bring down the Kunkka and the Nature's Prophet through Rum.
Big jump in, finds the Root, Duracio on him, a turnaround Root and BKB used, but guess what? He's got Aegis, he's got Refresher.
The Lotus
keeps him alive. Okay, starting to try and bring down Duracio a little bit. He just pops Rot, runs away. Supreme's hitting a couple on the other side of this one, though. Ace finds him, the Force Staff keeps him alive. Duracio down about a quarter HP, trying to find the finish. They get him, and now Celery also in some trouble. Remnant through, Supreme finds it. Ace getting low, gets bashed. Oh, the turn, though. Satanic wearing off. Ace, he didn't get that many heals off of it.
Diracho.
Pops another BKB, and with that, they might be able to escape. So they get the full set of racks, but burning through the Aegis, again into the breach, just showing these glimmers of potential.
Yeah, glimmers of brilliance, really, it feels like. It's really good fights still being able to hold on to the game here. 20k deficit and still doing some decent fights.
And you can see the answer that they're trying to build into.
Yeah.
Otaker, he knows he needs the rapier.
Yeah, they need just a bit more damage. But pretty decent. I mean, if Diracho keeps playing this like crazy, like he blinks in toward the fountain, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what causes a lot of it there. He has to be still a little cautious, even though they're in such a comfortable position. I say that. This isn't the base, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Zibe is getting pulled every which way now. Gets down to the low ground, but still trying to control him. Supreme running in and playing interference, so keeps alive the spider for a bit. Zibe, that hook looked like it went right through him, but won't quite be brought down yet. Celery still chasing, Ace on him. Dude, the meaning space created has never been more acute as Lotus, but finally they find and kill him off.
100 seconds, no spider now. Supreme, BKB is at the ready. They need everything on Into the Breach to be able to hold versus Gaimin Gladiators. Here comes the push. Kadaro.
Supreme just hiding right nearby.
Oh god. The ward though. They saw it placed. They know.
Slight, remnant away. Yeah, that ward going up from Celery was going to spell disaster in a moment there.
Look at this from Diracho. He's got enough control to have the backup for Nature's Prophet to come in to kill Otaker. Otaker has to back away.
Oh my god, he went the whole way around with the XTP just to get the rune. That's awesome. I love that.
It's a good rune.
And Ace starts hitting bottom tier 3 tower, starting to drop.
No Brood. Into the Breach needs absolutely everything to be able to try to take a fight.
50 seconds without him. Supreme. Sedic's cap will go off, and nonetheless, they just eat him on up immediately with the Pudge, keep him alive. Ace beats away, says, come deal with me if you can.
Yeah, he's just a turret this game.
Silence there with the X, but it's nothing really doing.
They're just going for buildings. Brood's still dead, 30 seconds. Ace planted into position.
Easy peasy moves here for him as Quinn steps up. Tofu gets the lift back, finds immersion. Force Staff keeps him alive. So they won't connect with that boat. Boat down. Maybe with Rum buff wearing off soon, they can try and do something here. Remnant in.
The buildings, though.
Decide to find it. Ace is not caring even one little bit about anybody else. Rapier done. Okay, now Otaker moves on in. They're not going to know about this one. Can they find him to bring him down? The damage is there. Look at that crit. And now turning on to Ace, wanting to bring him down, but the big jump in. Root, the turn, now in trouble. A couple more hits. This Rapier damage is starting to be immense, but Diracho runs right in front of him. Another Starbreaker, another hit. The Root there connecting and trying to take down Otaker. He gets the Force Staff away. They have the damage if they can keep on top of him. Overgrowth comes out. Otaker, the big hit. They find him again. Ace, he's right there, Silence to the side, trying to kill him off. Do they have enough to keep Otaker alive? No. And in fact, with Rapier now on the deck, the run through, Ace has it. There's the Satanic. The turn and the beatdown can commence. Hex out from the Rubik. Ultra kill for Ace. And with that, Gaimin Gladiators are going to win game number 2, closing out this series.
I would say still an absolutely amazing performance from the side of Into the Breach. Ace, he does get the rampage at the end. Well deserved. I think he was the saving grace. It did look like perhaps Gaimin Gladiators could lose this game if they didn't have Ace being such a beast.
Right. I mean, he absolutely carried.